Welcome once again to another episode of the Winner Circle, the podcast covering jujitsu, MMA, and other combat sports. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, my podcast partners, Isaiah Gathney, Chris Walker, Angel Diaz.
What's
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
What's
What's
up?
up,
What's
fellas?
up?
up, man?
If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Center Network. On Mondays, you got the Winner Circle with us here. Tuesdays, you got the Inside Scoop with Alec and Jeff. Wednesdays, you got the Traditional Way with Brett Shumway. Thursdays is Fists, Kicks, and Flicks with myself, Angel, and Joe. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms. Just look for the Martial Arts Center Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Fellas, it's showtime. What's happening? I see we all had a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Say the
we had to,
least.
but we had to make sure we showed up, didn't cancel this show after talking with Trav last week.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. He's like, no, not again. You won't be called to the side again. No, sir. We're here.
I mean, he had a point. He's like, it's been 3 months. I mean, none of us even really realized that from
It's a
before,
great
but it's
point.
all good.
It's a great point.
Right.
Show up to your job 3 months later without having showed up and see what kind of response you'll get. So yeah, it's a
There
great.
you go.
More than a stern finger wagging, I promise you.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So, how's your weekends? Everything good? Okay. Everything good?
Everything's good, man. Just relax, man. It wasn't too stressful. I mean, I gotta get some work in, but it wasn't too stressful. So good weekend.
All right. Are you still training out in Vegas in addition to helping run your school here in Michigan?
Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot because I've been traveling back and forth so much. So I've been cutting my commitments down here. That way I can be available to travel when I need to. But yeah, I definitely do still, train out here as well.
Are you still working with your students via Zoom also?
Yeah, yep. So in between, I work with them via Zoom, back and forth from Detroit, and when I'm not down there, and then when I'm down there, I'm working with them physically.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. What's up, Chris?
Man, I had a busy weekend. I'm going back and forth with this move to Florida. Just a lot of back and forth, getting a lot of stuff done. But before it's all done, and you didn't know, Angel. You didn't know I was moving forward.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know either.
Oh.
I didn't know. He said like it's common knowledge. He's like, yeah, this move to Florida, they kicking my butt. Like,
What the hell? What?
Oh yeah, no, like my wife got a job, so we're gonna be rocking and rolling down to Florida here in the very near future, and just kind of making preparations and getting everything underway.
What?
Plus,
What part of Florida you gonna go to?
back kind of closer to my home in Brevard County, Florida, close to Port Canaveral, right outside of Orlando.
Okay. So you're going like closer to home then. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
congrats to the wife.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
man. Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations, definitely. So, what's going to happen with your school? So, are you going to open up another school down there?
Yeah, well, I don't. We'll see. We'll see what goes on down in Florida. We'll figure it all out. Not. I don't have any plans right now. Just gonna kind of figure some stuff out, and then make a move when I'm ready to. I got a couple opportunities right now that are presenting themselves, so we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. I had a question about your academy, man. Do you?
Okay.
So I know you teach karate. Do you
Yes.
also teach jujitsu out of your school?
Yes.
Okay, so do you rank your students also through jujitsu, or do you just take some of the techniques and put it into your karate program, like this is your version of self-defense? Or are you ranking
No.
both?
Well, no. Karate and jiu-jitsu are completely separate at that school. So there's been a lot of changes for me lately. I'm actually that's kind of my old school. So that old school, yes, there was karate, that the whole 100% karate program, and then there is a Nova União based jiu-jitsu program out of Nova União, Atlanta here. So that was what that setup was.
Okay.
And then we had obviously had like after school and all the rest of that stuff that goes along with the karate program. And then we would offer a couple of kids that would want to come and do the after school program, but then do jujitsu classes versus the after school karate program. And it was a kind of a collaborative effort between two separate entities.
Mm-hmm. Is the jujitsu part of it primarily adults?
No. There was quite a large kids program, growing kids program. Started at 6 or 7 kids, and then there's probably like 25, 30 kids in the program now.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's grown quite a bit here in this area.
Okay, so I know a lot of jujitsu schools that I know of, they don't really focus on kids a lot. It's mainly
it takes. Listen. I'm gonna tell you like about kids now. It takes a special type of instructor to be able to not only work with kids, to deal with kids, to handle the emotional well-being and comfortability level between the kids, the instructors, the parents, and making all of that work. So a lot of times I notice my Brazilian friends, they don't want to do it. So if a lot of jujitsu programs are run by high level Brazilians around here, at least, and so that's what you're going to get, unless you get a couple of high level brown belts or some eager purple belts that want to come in and put in hours on the mats, and they're really connecting with the kids. I think that's why you're going to find a lot of schools that don't have that, or they're a part of an MMA gym, and that may not be the culture as well.
And I think to your point,
Zeke got a little bit more insight on that than I would, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I think to your point, Chris, and you as well, Gene, with what you just stated. I think that it's not necessarily that they don't focus on them. I think that you may not know that for the reason that Chris just articulated, that the person in whom you train under, they just probably primarily work with adults. So you probably don't even know that the program is existent because it's maybe on another day or a whole other block or time shift or something where somebody totally different is teaching you. But very seldom do you see the high level, the person that works with the adults, do you see that high level professor also teaching the kids? You don't see that very often. It's typically somebody totally different, that's teaching the kids. It's totally separate than the individual that is your instructor that you work with.
Well, no, I've been there to schools and the kids have been doing jujitsu, but most of the times the kids class, it's only one class, and it's like from 4 to 5 o'clock, and that's the only class. They like all of the kids are kind of all together. When I've looked at the schedule and when I've been there, and it hasn't been. I would say the amount of kids I've probably seen on average at a lot of schools are probably anywhere from maybe 7 to 10 kids. Now the adult classes are always packed. It's always a lot of
And see, that's just a regional thing, honestly, because you're right. When I was there, it was that way on Midwest, East Coast, and even at my academy, I only had one kids class, and I only ran it 2 days a week, and that was a Friday and Saturday class. It was not my focal point at all. When I moved out here to the West Coast, it is huge. I mean, the kids' jujitsu is insane. There is no karate. Parents are not looking for karate. If they think about self-defense or martial arts, they only think about jujitsu or taekwondo. That's it. It's either taekwondo or jujitsu, and most times it's jujitsu. You teach jujitsu, and it acts that all the time. They don't want their kid in anything else. In their mind, the only thing that's ingrained as relates to martial arts in their mind is jujitsu. Here, it's totally different. So you're right. And it's a regional thing. And that's the reason why I think that me and Chris kind of like, when you said that you don't really see the kids. And it's definitely a regional thing for sure. But I mean, still, that holds true from what I've seen. Even here, whoever the professor is that works with the adults or with the high-level practitioners, they very seldom work with the kids also. Like Chris said, it takes a special type of person to be able to actually, to deal with all of the things that goes along with working with children.
Yeah, I've seen that, and a lot of times it's a purple belt or a blue belt that's working with the kids. I've definitely seen that.
So what I see is, depending on the area, regionally and whatnot, you're gonna find who is comfortable making physical contact every day. You got some people who like to stand in line and do the line drills and the forms and feel confident that way, punching the bag and doing the little setups, and then occasionally having to go out there and spar. But again, the depending on where you're at, the wrestling background or the jiu-jitsu background, or you got boxers, or you got taekwondo kids, you got what's best in the area, what and what that areas are comfortable with. You got a lot of upper area who may do one-on-one jiu-jitsu, but they're not getting in there and roughhousing everybody. And then the same aspect, they might not want to come in there and get punched and kicked in the face.
True.
So they would rather do jiu-jitsu. So regionally, you're going to find that as well.
Okay, I feel you. Angel, what's happening, man?
Nothing much, man.
We skipped all over Angels weekend. We skipped all over Gene weekend. Like,
I'm good, man. Just busy week. That's all. Just getting stuff done with the school, trying to get stuff done with life, man. That's really it, man. That's all. So, what about you guys?
Oh, Angel, I see what's going on.
Angel sound like Angel going through it, boy.
It's that wedding. It's that wedding. That wedding on his
I know.
like this.
Oh yeah, that's why I wasn't gonna call him out on it like that, man. I just you're gonna do it right now.
I told him months ago. I was like, this is just the beginning,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the blissfully ignorant beginning, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious, it's gonna be wonderful, but woo.
No, I got you, man. Like I told you, bro. It's crazy. That's all I can say, man. It's just crazy.
Life be life.
Yeah. I've been busy as well, man. I'm just waiting to take this road trip. This was a busy weekend. I had my stepdaughter was here this weekend, so I just took her back to Windsor. And before you two, Chris and Angel, before you guys got on, I was telling Isaiah that, man, I was on the bridge coming back to the U.S. I was on the bridge for over an hour. Is going up to the bridge or tunnel, to Canada is normally 20 minutes. That's it. There and back. So having to, and I'm literally sitting on the bridge waiting to get over. They really tighten up the border now. They're tightening up the border. It was a nerve-wracking situation. So I ain't gonna get into too much on this podcast over the internet. We'll talk offline. But let's get into some of our topics. Let's just start off with this one right here. Who are your top 5 MMA goats?
Going quick. We going.
He said right off the bat.
That's what we're starting with.
I know that's
we're gonna start with that one.
Go with another topic, but damn. All right.
Who want to go first? I don't mind going first. I don't really care.
You
go ahead, Gene. I'll go next. You go ahead, Gene. I'll go next. Don't worry.
All
about
right,
it.
I'm going. I gotta go. John Jones. I got John Jones. I have George St. Pierre. I have Anderson Silva. I have Fedor on there on my list. I'm missing someone.
See, this is why I didn't want to go. This is exactly why. Exactly why. I'm the one.
You like
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Scratching stuff off.
I'm gonna go Demetrius. Demetrius Johnson.
Okay.
That's what I have.
Oh, damn. Okay.
What about you guys? And you know what? I know
Funny.
sometimes some people talk about Fedor, however you say his name. And a lot of people say, well, he wasn't in the UFC. But when he was in his prime, like he would have beat Tim Sylvia. I think he would have beat Andrei Arlovsky. I think he would have beat Frank Mir. What'd you say, Chris?
I said he did beat Arlovsky later on in Affliction, but he knocked out Arlovsky.
Okay. Who else was the top heavyweight?
Frank Mir.
He would have beat Frank Mir.
That's the thing. That's the argument, because the UFC's heavyweight division wasn't as tough and as hard as Pride's.
No, right.
Pride, you got Crow Cop, you got no Big Nog. I mean, the Randleman, like you so like that's 100%. And again, we go into eras now because we can say that We're in eras now of MMA. We got King of Pancrase. We got old school. Because when you talk about legends, I mean, you got legends and goats. So I mean, you got who are the goats of back then? You got like guys like Boss.
I was about to say Boss.
Oh yeah.
And Frank, even Frank Shamrock. I mean, you got guys from way back, and then you got then you move into Pride, and you got there are many organizations into that. So you got the eras. Who's the best in the 90s? Who was the best in the Pride? Who was the best in Elite XC for a little while there? What was Bay Area show? Scott Coker's Strike Force. Strike Force. Because when Strike Force, when DC and them were in that heavyweight Grand Prix, that trumped anything that the UFC had in the heavyweight division at that time. Fedor in that too. So like people don't really get that. So I agree with you 100% on that Fedor call. But Fedor, John, GSP, Anderson, I mean these are your goats, and then who are you going to go with from there? I would, because of his length, I kind of agree with you there, Mr. Gene. I got DJ on that as well.
And he's winning in jiu-jitsu tournament.
They're not my now. These are not my personal favorites. These are the top people. When I look back, when I look back in the history books, I look back at fighting. I watch people fighting. These are the baddest jokers that I would say. Who are the greatest fighters of all time? Who, if you put these dudes in the ring, who would win? And at their primes, how would that look? And that's what I'm going with on that one. Because personally, my personal favorite fighters. My personal five look very different.
If you would have asked me who are the most entertaining fighters, I would have a whole different group. I'll have a whole completely different, group of my favorite fighters. I'll have a different group. Go ahead, Zeke. I want to go last. I'll let you go.
Well, I'm gonna just, you going after me is gonna look real good, because people gonna hate my list, because I am terrible at this. For a few reasons. One, from a memory perspective, like it's so many people, I can't remember everybody. And when I leave people off my list, people are like, how you gonna put that person over? And it's like, look, man, I forgot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an in the moment kind of guy. Like when I see him, he's my favorite, and then when I don't, that's why I don't pick me for jury duty. Don't pick me. Like I sit on jury duty. The dude is guilty. When they say nothing and the defense, I'm like, this guy's guilty, man. Like, throw this guy away, man. Throw away the key. Scumbag. Then the other side get up. I'm like, man, this guy's being railroaded.
I hope nothing ever happens to me and Isaiah's in
the do this. But other people get up, like, that's me. So whatever's going on currently, that's typically where I'm at. It's a big gap. It's either really old, I remember, or right now. But everything in between, I've forgotten. So this is going to be a crummy list for some. I'll try my best to justify it, right? I literally just wrote this because I forgot to do my homework. So I wrote this just when we were starting the show, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I'm gonna make, Andrew's gonna look great after this, by the way. Whatever he says is gonna look great. Those are respectable lists that you guys both gave. DJ, it sucks. I can't put him on my list. And it's not because, like, if he didn't get brought up, I would be surprised and I would ask why. But by the same token, I can't, because I think a lot of the success that he amassed early on, by no fault of his own, was just because the division was just so weak. So much so that Dana wanted to shut it down. He had to fight some of the people repeatedly, and this has nothing to do with his skill and his acumen. And obviously, he is a skillful individual because he finished a lot of those individuals. And then he went over to a totally different organization and went over there and it's killing over there. So it's not really fair. It's like a victim of the situation or circumstance. It was like in boxing, like most people don't know who the 118-pound champ is, and like a lot of these guys, these lower weights, because they don't really get televised that much. But who all of the other more prominent you guys are, because they're in the heavier weight classes, and that competition tends to be a little tougher. So that's the only reason I don't put him on my list, but I don't disagree with him at all, or any of the ghosts that you guys said for the music that you did. This is definitely in no particular order, by the way. DC, he's got to go on my list for sure. Daniel Cormier.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Daniel Cormier's got to be on my list. Got to be on my list, 100%. Anderson Silva. All right, these are easy ones. Now here comes the ones that you guys are gonna be mad about. And I'll explain.
My eyebrow raised from DC. So go ahead.
You're gonna be mad. So Matt Hughes has to go on my list. Matt Hughes has to go on my list. I just in his time. And another thing is some of these guys just fought too long. Like, so you only really remember the tail end of their list. I'm sorry, of their career. But when in his prime, he was doing his thing, man. Mm-hmm. There's the one you guys not gonna like for sure. All right. Chael Sonnen got to go on my list. Now he got Chael Sonnen.
What?
Yes. He got it. He got to go on my list.
Wow.
Okay. Well, first of all, if anybody's listening and Conor McGregor's on your list, he got smoked several times, and the reason that Conor McGregor's on your list is the reason why Chael's on my list, because he actually, at a time when I feel like that MMA was transitioning, he found a way to keep it interesting and keep you want to watch those fights. He talked crap about whoever he got out there. He backed it up. He fought. He was must-see TV. So he probably shouldn't go down as a GOAT. Honestly, I think I want to side with Chris more about he's a guy that I like to watch. I don't think I would call him a GOAT, if I'm being honest. I just had to throw him on my list because I couldn't think of anybody else at the time, and he was a guy that I really enjoyed watching, right? So I wouldn't call him a GOAT, but I will call him a guy that I feel like he was a part of the formula that was helping to be able to save MMA, and the ratings and things like that, because he was really promoting himself, and he laid out a blueprint that Conor and a lot of guys after him was able to utilize and to take to be successful themselves. And then I gotta give some love to somebody that was in UFC, Sakuraba. Sakuraba for sure is one of my goals, 100%. You know what I mean? This guy was the Gracie. They called him the Gracie Killer. The Gracies were the most formidable people at that time, and he signed up to fight every one of them. And he was doing things to them and taking them off the list to the point to where they like, I don't know if I want to fight this dude. Like, they had the whole world shook. And he was the first one that took them on, or one of the first groups or batch of people that took them on, and was dismantling them and made them look human. And they were the ones that we look at as the fathers or the grandfathers or whatever in MMA, and he wanted all of them. He wanted all the smoke back then. And he didn't just fight them. He was entertaining when he did it. You know what I mean? Like, he was clowning them while he was out there at times. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got to go on my list for sure. So, excuse me for the Chael Sonnen. I throw him on there because somebody.
No. I like the Sakuraba call. I like the Sakuraba call.
Sure, got to be on my list.
Salute on that one. Only for me, and I'll go with justifications for only reason why I don't put Sako on there is because Vanderlei.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Styles make fights, sure. But
Yeah, that was.
I can't put Vanderlei, but
that was nice.
I mean, but in that era, Vanderlei though.
Jesus Christ.
Vanderlei's on a whole nother level through there for a 4-year unbeatable. Like, bro, that Mark Hunt, like,
I agree.
That's a different.
That's what makes it hard, because Vanderlei.
So I get it. No, that's what I'm just saying. I'm going with that.
If you put Anderson on your list, you should be able to put Vanderlei on your list. For sure.
Vanderlei at that point is close. His UFC run was not good, but not great. It was good, but it was not great. But his Pride run is something to marvel at. But looking back at Pride, how much do we
how much was it real fights, right? Like,
no. His were real fights. Even the ones backstage with Crazy Horse, like those were all fights.
That was a wild boy.
Hey, that's my guy right there. Don't talk
I love
about
Crazy Horse, man. I love him. I got Angel. Funny when I said DC, so I'm trying to figure out who you got for your 5.
I'm gonna be honest.
Crazy for DC.
When you said, well, these are the easy ones, and then I heard DC first, I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. It's a crazy list, but so my list, honestly, the first 3, I'm on there pretty much with most of you guys. I know, Zeke, you didn't have them on, but for me, it was John Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP. But those were mine, without a doubt. I'm going to be honest with you. I know people love to talk about, Khabib, but I would die on a hill and say this. I would put BJ Penn as a GOAT. What he was doing as that lightweight when there was no other weight class. So he had no choice but to be at that weight, and then he went up to welterweight. You have to look at that. And I think he got fat for welterweight. I don't even think was even gonna make the weight. I think he had to put it on. So I put BJ Penn. And then this is where it gets tough for me, man. I think about heavyweight, right? And for me, my biggest thing about heavyweights is I like to see someone with a sustained run. And two people come to mind. Picking one or the other is tough, but honestly, I would put Rafael dos Anjos. I thought he was a very good heavyweight. He doesn't get enough credit. I felt like he had his run was pretty good. I thought about Kane. I thought about putting in Kane, and that was one where I was like real 50-50. Go ahead,
Chris thinking he's processing.
No. Listen. Because if we're talking all-time favorite fighters, BJ's Penn is in my top 3 favorite fighters of all time. He fought Lyoto Machida at 200 pounds. He's got Renzo Gracie fights. Like no. We are talking like tail end again. Fighters who fought too long. People will only remember the backside of it. People don't remember the Nick Diaz fight. Like you're right. He weighed in at 166 to fight GSP. Fight night, he weighed 166 to fight GSP. GSP weighed 170 to fight. He weighed 185 to 190 to come fight night. Like that was a completely different fight both times, and he beat him. So you know what I mean. So like I'm on you with the BJ Penn one. The Dos Santos one, like on the heavyweight one, that one threw me off a little bit.
Listen,
but other than that, it was good.
I think about it, man, and it's tough because see, this is where my thing is, and I think you guys hit the nail on the head when it came to the heavyweight division. I feel like now is, and even now, it's filled out, but it's filled out to like the first 5. After that, it's like, you know, you ask anybody, name the best heavyweights in the UFC. You'll be lucky if they can name 2 or 3. Like, you will be lucky if they can name 2 or 3. And I say that honestly. So, like, I look at it and I'm like, other organizations had better heavyweight divisions, but I want to see a sustained run. And Fedor was like, listen, my thing with Fedor is I think I'm on the side of what you guys were talking about. I started seeing him when he was later in his years. And what I was seeing, I was like, man, this is not the same dude everyone talks about. They talk about him as like, you know, the emperor. He was the king. Like so I missed some of that. But when we talk about, I will say this. I know you guys brought him up. When we talk about, if we say like favorites, like our all-time favorites to watch, Wanderlei would probably be like my very first like one I would put in there, because his
Jose Aldo.
Oh yeah, his like
the WEC one though. When he got the UFC.
That's what I said. WEC Jose Aldo. Even early UFC.
Early UFC was scary. Early UFC, you would have thought he was never gonna lose. He was gonna retire undefeated at one point. You would have thought that.
Listen, I still wanted that Jose Conor rematch that was never ever gonna be happening.
He was smart. I mean, they weren't gonna do that. They knew what was gonna happen. To be honest with you, they knew. Like that was. But yeah, so RDJ is a hard one for me. But like I was thinking about the whole division, and I was like, man, at one point, man, RDJ was a bad boy. Like we're saying, I mean, he was at heavyweight knocking people out with spinning wheel kicks. Like he had cardio. Like he could put on the pace. He didn't tire. He was one of those very few heavyweights that didn't tire too much. So for me, that's what I would have put in there. I know people are gonna probably kill me and no Khabib and no Fedor and
no, I mean it's I think it's a hard thing because again, I think that when you do these lists, it comes you have a core 3 that pretty much everybody will agree with, and then somebody gonna look at you crazy for one or even 2 of them because it gets to a point where you just it's hard to not name somebody that was your favorite or your favorite for a particular reason.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be able to differentiate between the two unless you are looking at people who are just simply undefeated. Then those are easy because you can be like, okay, these 5 people never lost. I'm gonna put these 5 people on my list. You know what I mean? But a couple people that you throw in, you saw them get starched a few times. You know what I mean? Like you didn't, and it's like, well, wow, like how you gonna call him a GOAT? It's like that's why I had to say I don't think it's a GOAT thing. I think that at some point in time, you witness so much greatness, but there's people that you got up for, that you wanted to watch fight for whatever reason, because you maybe like boxing, or you like the wrestling or grappling, or you like people on the mic that can handle the mic and talk crazy, or whatever the case is. I think that's what makes it challenging. What I find interesting, though, is that like we both kind of looked when he said BJ Penn, like BJ Penn, and BJ Penn is what was definitely a great fighter. I mean, nobody can dispute that. Nobody's going to think that he doesn't deserve accolades. Here's what I find interesting, and I found it even more interesting when we both had that kind of shock reaction, myself and Chris, is that nobody named any Hawaiians to be on their list. Like, nobody, aside from you, who brought up, BJ Penn. And it's crazy because they're great fighters. So why aren't any of them a part of anybody's list? Like, who thinks they can like answer that question? Like, why you?
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm just
Hawaiian fighters. I mean, we really got as big names. Who else we got? Two, Max.
Yeah, two as big names, right?
And BJ and Max. I love Max, but Max isn't there yet.
Yeah, listen.
So Max and BJ. BJ is a pioneer of MMA for me. That's what it is. BJ is a first dude to do crazy jujitsu. Like crazy dexterity, takedown defense, crazy boxing, like he all the different things, like so pioneer wise, that's one of my things. Oh yeah, 100%. You can definitely put that up, Eric. Never you knew he was in juicing. I mean, he's on something now, but he wasn't juicing. He fought anybody, anytime. He was a monster when he finally got the Maravich brothers, when he finally figured out how to like actually train instead of just being rich and talented.
Hey, like, there it is. I wanted somebody to bring it up because I'm obviously going I'm gonna get all like the hate, and I take it, like I embrace it. I ain't got no problem with it. When you work with fighters, and all type of fighters, and we've had a lot of guys come to our gym. Been blessed to have a lot of people that's in, UFC and PFL belts, all type of stuff over the years. I've either seen these guys train, work beside them, or help coach beside them, or whatever. They don't have great work ethics. They don't. They're a lot of them are lazy. They're lazy. They're very talented because fighting's a part, like. Think about like in Muay Thai, like in Thailand. Thai box is a part of their culture. You know what I mean? Like even in Brazil, like jiu-jitsu, it's like a part of the culture. Fighting is just like, the Hawaiians, they're built tough, man. You know what I mean? They love to fight. It's just the way they are. So for them, it's like it's innate because the fighting's inside of them. I think a lot of people have to work at certain things, like. I'll talk about, and this is another controversial topic for another day, about the Brazilians with jiu-jitsu versus Americans who do jiu-jitsu. Again, it's a part of their culture. So as a result, they grew up with it. It's second nature to them. For us, it wasn't. We had to work really hard at it. Like it was not natural. It wasn't something that we were introduced to really early on. And we just, as the wave came over here, we had to work to get good at it. We were working from behind the 8 ball. So the work ethic was different. So once the work ethic started to become a factor, where it wasn't just about skill, talent, and ability, with all the information was given to everybody across the board, then you were able to look and see who are the better practitioners, based on the skill, the technique, and the work ethic. The Hawaiians that we've worked with and that I've seen, a lot of these guys at the higher level, they're really talented fighters and they're really good because they love to fight and they can bang. But when it comes time to actually work as hard as they need to at that level that BJ had gotten to, a lot of times they get distracted by partying, they get distracted by other things, or just being lazy. And that's what I think BJ was a victim of. I can't really say that to be the case with Holloway. I like Max, but I'm really not a huge fan of him. That doesn't, now when I say I'm not a fan of somebody, it doesn't mean that I don't respect their fighting ability. Some of the times there's no real reason I'm not a fan of them. Like, it's because maybe there's certain things in a fighting style that I like to see a little bit more of, that I feel like that person doesn't showcase. So it doesn't stand out to me, but I still can recognize their greatness while they're doing it. Max is one of those guys. I like to see wrestling. I like to see grappling. It makes in a lot with striking. Guys that are just strikers to me, you know what I mean, is just, you know, nowadays, back in the day, you know, when we were watching Anderson get out there and do his thing and shuffle around, that was my thing, you know what I mean? But my jiu-jitsu acumen wasn't what it is now. So now I look for more wrestling-based and jiu-jitsu-oriented thing, which is why I threw me enjoying with Chael Sonnen fight and when you talk crap and his style of fighting. You have your times where just your purpose is the thing that you look for a change. So I'm never dissing somebody like that, like the Mighty Mouse thing. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely deserves to be a GOAT, just not on my list for various reasons, some of which I highlighted. But no, I think that's what it is. And I think that's why we both kind of look like, you know, like, wow, like, you know, you brought him up as not because he wasn't amazing or because he wasn't tough or because he wasn't successful. It's just that it's hard to be able to overlook certain things. And a lot of those things are attributed to the distractions that they have, and he had in the backstretch of his career for sure. And then he's in the news all the time now for the wrong stuff. So it just kind of sucks because it's kind of hard to remember what he used to do. So,
okay. All right. Well, that was a good topic. Next week, we're going to do the women. Top 5 MMA GOAT for the women. That
I'm excited for that one, honestly.
That's going to be an interesting one.
I'm a plus.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a
I think it'll be easier.
People wouldn't know.
It'll be easier.
It's not going to be easier for me. I haven't watched as many of the women fights. So
the top 5 should be really, really, really easy, to be perfectly honest with you. Like there's only really like 7 names you could rarely put in there, 8 maybe. But go ahead. We'll get on that next week. I digress.
Let's go to our next topic. Is celebrity boxing good for boxing? I don't think so. Not at all, man.
Yeah.
You say yeah?
I say yeah. I already know I'm gonna get killed. I already know Chris.
No, not necessarily. I'm not gonna kill you.
Not you, man. Everybody else. And then Chris is gonna talk me off my point, and he's gonna make me go back to the side. But I'm gonna say yeah now. So that way.
What you think, Chris?
Now I want to hear why Angel says yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
He went last.
I want to hear his. I gotta hear his point.
So listen,
because
my thing is, I think celebrity boxing is good for boxing because it's bringing more eyes to the sport. Now, the issue is bringing eyes to the sport and maybe not the way that we would want it to be. And I think that's where one thing I don't like, I will say this. One thing I don't like is I don't like the celebrities being the main event and the actual pros that are fighting for titles are on the undercard. I really don't like that part of it. I think the pros that are fighting for the title, the pros that are actually going out there and putting in the work day in, day out, putting their life online, they should get that A side, B side money. They should get that promotion. They should get that spot to be the main event. But I will say, I think more celebrity boxing should be on cards where there is actual like pro cards, and especially for the bigger ones. It does bring a certain level of viewership, as we've seen. You know, Instagrammers and influencers, it's real. Like people getting influenced and people going to watch stuff is a real thing. You know, I've seen people watching the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight that most people would have never watched because it was on Netflix and because the ad pops up every time you turn on Netflix. It's the first thing that pops up. And because people on that day, they're going to turn on Netflix, they're just going to see, a boxing fight, 2 people fighting. At the end of the day, we all have said this. Fighting is in our blood. Fighting is something that goes back to the beginning of time when we talked about, Gene and Chris, about all this boxing, whether it's a martial art thing, since the beginning of time. Like, people will want to see fights. So, for me, I think it's a good thing. It brings more viewership, which hopefully in turn will bring more dollars to the fighters. Will that actually happen? That's a whole other rabbit hole we will go down. But I think it's good.
Well, what about you, Isaiah? What do you think?
I think that it needs to be clear that they're 2 different worlds. And if you look at the tagline that you have, I would be okay with it if it was introduced like that. So it's celebrity boxing, and then there's boxing. Mm-hmm. And I think that if it was viewed in that fashion, I wouldn't have an issue with it. And the reason why is because I believe that despite the fact that there's people gaining some level of success, that are come from over the celebrity world, you feel like that these people are skipping, ahead, and in that it disrespects the older fighters that came up that paved the way, and then it creates a false impression to the newer generation of individuals, and feel like that they can skip steps. And as all of us having being school owners and being martial artists and having worked with various people, whether it be for sport karate tournaments or for jiu-jitsu tournaments or for boxing or kickboxing MMA fights, we know that we've always had that rambunctious individual that you want to come in and just jump ahead and skip several steps to be able to get to a certain level. And that's what I look at and view celebrity boxing being. It wasn't like that before. It was very clear that there was a distinction between the two. And to Angel's point, if it was headline like that, like we have these celebrity boxing fights on this boxing card, and where there's a clear distinction between the two, I can understand and rock with a little bit better. I mean, you can go to the strip club and see, girl boxing matches. That'll make it, lingerie boxing matches. That'll make it boxing. You know what I mean? They are boxing. They could be talented, but by the same token, it should be a clear distinction. And I believe that it is kind of offensive to some of the people that put the work in, maybe even borderline disrespectful to some of them. Now, what I will say is that, people like, Jake and Logan, they're doing a really good job of showing how at some point, if they didn't before, they understand they have to take it serious, and they're showing them training and working hard. They're not just showing up and they're not just fighting. So I applaud the fact that they're going behind the scenes to some degree and making sure that people understand this isn't something easy that you can just walk into doing, like some of these guys that's coming right off IG and TikTok or whatever, just jumping in there because they don't like each other, they got to beef. But I mean, I don't think that it's still good for it, because I believe that in merging the two worlds, it kind of becomes offensive and disrespectful, and it becomes an unrealistic type of a narrative that you create to up and coming boxers who are willing to, go through all of the steps, put the hard work in, go to the Olympics, and do everything the right organic way to be able to get there, to have a sustained career and sustained success, over a course of time. I just think that it just creates the illusion that you can skip these steps and you can go out there and you can be revered and fight alongside some of the biggest names in boxing. And, and we're spending too much time focusing on that type of stuff rather than making the fights that people really want to see. So I don't think it's good for it.
Chris?
So it's funny because celebrity boxing is great for viewership. It's great for money, and that's about it. It's a sideshow. Mm-hmm. As like Zeke said, for the sport of boxing, how do kids who are coming up, how does boxing, when we look at the legends of boxing and how they came up and how that worked out for them, it like Zeke said, it skips steps. It actually is bad for the sport of boxing and the art of boxing as a whole. Again, for dollars and promotion and notoriety, all that. I think that's good. I think you need some of that stuff in there. I agree again with, I think it should be an undercard bout. I think it should be part of that, but they're going to have the celebrities argue, who are they really coming to see?
Yep.
Because think about it, in the general public, the general masses who you're trying to attract, who are they really coming to see? Maybe Canelo? Who else? Who else we got? That everybody's going to know.
Bud Crawford, maybe?
Bud.
Crawford.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. Who else?
I can't think of anyone else outside of those two.
That everybody's gonna know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That when you're walking down the grocery store, that's gonna stop and look and see two dudes coming up. That is not, and I think that's the promotion part. Because what I'm gonna say is, Angel, you hit something on the head with the Katie Taylor fight. It's there. It's on Netflix. It's right there. It's accessible. If you had every fight like that, I guarantee you we'd have different eyes on boxing. I think people would be different, entertained differently by it, and we would look at it. So again, you need the viewership to get the money and keep the eyes on boxing, because hopefully you're going to keep 20% of those people who watch that big fight, that Paul Tyson fight, to stay on and watch Serrano and Taylor, who next time watch this one, who hopefully snooze fest on that one, stick around and maybe we saw somebody on the undercard to watch the next one, because sometimes we don't get good fights.
Most times.
Sometimes.
I
was trying to be nice. Zeke, I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice. The best part of watching most of these boxing fights is the highlights.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you guys
I hate that, because I love fighting. I love boxing. I really do. I was out with a buddy of mine last night, and there were some local boxing fights that were on a Florida network, the Sunshine Network. They just had a bunch of local Florida boxing fights on there, and I promise you, 2 of those fights that we sat there in the hour we were there were better than what I saw on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I promise you. But those aren't going to be seen. Those aren't going to be notarized. That's not who's going to get the eyes on them. And when we do get the eyes on them, we're not going to get the great fights. Mm-hmm. That's why boxing has died. That and bad promotions.
Mm-hmm. That's why you need a chill fighting.
I got a question. I got a couple questions. Do you guys think
Adrian Broner until he got knocked out by Pacquiao?
That's true. Oh, see, another guy loved.
What's his name? That used to be Klitschko.
Do you guys think that boxing needs a league like a UFC?
They have a league.
They got like 17. They need to chill out with all the damn leagues.
Nah, but those, I mean, I understand these organizations, WBO, WBC, and all that stuff, but they don't act or treat themselves like the UFC. The UFC is borderline like WWE as far
as you're saying there needs to be one undisputed league where there's only one champion. If you have that belt, that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah, and even going so far as promoting their fighters and putting their fighters everywhere, so we know who they are. So we don't have a situation like Chris just said where we only know 2 or 3 fighters, a handful of fighters.
Well, that
can't happen.
This is my only argument. This is my only argument with that. Not even for probably the point that Zeke might make. The only thing I'm gonna say to that is like, how well is that going for the UFC? We have a league that does that for MMA. If I was to go down the street and talk to people about names, they would look and be like, "Who's that? What's I think no matter what combat sport it is, if it's not those, because it's hard to get.
No, the UFC did it to itself because they have so many fighters. Number one, they have so many cards. Like you got to narrow that down. It's oversaturated.
I agree. It
sure is.
I agree with you, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even know that there was a fight night happening last night until I went out to go eat, and I just was I
didn't know at all.
I went to Buffalo Wild Wings and I looked. I said, "Oh damn, these must be reruns." Then I said, "Oh no, this is live." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm watching live fights."
I didn't know
until this morning.
So,
I didn't know either.
I don't know, man. I just think think about it like this, bro. It's like anything else. If there's a league, there's gonna be someone that says, "Yeah, but I can make this money on my own if I just do X, Y, and Z." And then when one person has a thought, then everyone wants to go and be, everybody wants to be a chef. Nobody wants to be the person helping bring the food out to the table. That's how it's gonna work. So it's just, I personally don't think having one league is gonna help. But I don't think there is a right solution. I think no matter what you do, it's gonna be a way to. It's not gonna be perfect.
It can't work in boxing because of how it was initially birthed, and the fact that they want to keep. It's the way that boxing is ran and is operates is very antiquated, and to get those people to actually change and modernize their school of thought, it's never going to happen. To get them to get that forward thinking, it's never going to happen, because then they're going to feel like, well, we were successful for this many years. Just because something new comes along, we'll outlast them. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to hang around. But boxing's been around since the beginning of time, so we don't want to mess with the formula. Dana White said it best, years ago. And remember, Dana White was on the boxing side of things before he even got involved with the UFC at all, before there was any MMA or he knew anything about it. He knew enough about boxing and what worked well for it, but more particularly, more specifically, what didn't work well. And he took that, got that money from the Fertittas and them boys and said, "Hey, look, let me have this money and let me show you how I can take the things that boxing is not good at, and I could turn this thing into a juggernaut. And what he said early on was very simple, and he wasn't he was very transparent. He wasn't shy about it. He said the reason that MMA and the UFC will always thrive is because I own the contracts and I can make the fights that people want to see. And when he said that, it really got people to look, and that was the beginning, I believe, of the decline in boxing, because it really resonated with people. Like, that's a good point. Why does it take 3 or 4 years for me to see a person fight that I want to see now, and they're both doing really well now? And it's because of the fact there's too many people involved in between. There's too many other managers, too many other people that they have to talk to in between, and it takes weeks, months, and years for all of the parties, aside from the fighters that you see, that you want to be promoted, that you want to see more of. All that back noise and back chatter has to get quieted and silenced and agreed on before they can even consider even starting camp to fight. So no matter if you have a separate legal organization or not, as long as all those middlemen and behind the scenes people are involved, which they will be, because they're not going to consolidate this thing or turn over the keys to just 1 or 2 individuals, then it's never going to work out. And that's the reason why the promotion of these fighters are down, because there's too many other people behind the scenes involved that's not allowing these guys to be able to grow and get the promotion they need, because they got their hands stuck out and they want their cut.
Well, they're gonna have to do something pretty soon. I mean, with celebrity boxing getting more and more popular, all it's gonna take is for some promoter that's into the celebrity boxing to put on a card the same time as a major boxing card. And if they get smoked by that other,
you mean like in Saudi Arabia?
Huh?
You mean like in Saudi Arabia? Like what they've been doing?
No, I don't follow boxing.
They got like they just got the last Tyson. That's how they had Tyson Fury out there fighting Anthony Joshua and Ngannou.
The zone does it all the time.
I meant something like let's say Tank Davis fighting somebody. He got a fight coming up soon.
Yeah, Lamont Roach. Right?
Okay, so let's say that fight is coming up, right?
Hey, he definitely didn't win that last one.
But let's say at the same time it's going on, you got Logan Paul versus 50 Cent. Let's say that's the celebrity boxing match. What are people gonna watch? I'm not watching Tank Davis.
Look. I'm getting ready to flip over what I said.
I got 2 screens. I'm lying. I got 2 screens and I'm bootlegging both of them. To be honest with you, I'm like, let me. I hope one's on Netflix and then I got the website on the other one. Don't worry about it.
So I mean, they're gonna have to do something. I mean, because I don't see boxing getting more popular in its current form right now, unfortunately. I mean, maybe it might be a thing where, like you guys said, like put some of the celebrities on the same card as the co-main event, as to what the pro boxers are the main events.
Right.
Maybe that might help. That might bring some eyes on. No.
Like you said, call it something. Call it celebrity boxing and call it professional boxing.
Yeah.
You can have a celebrity who's stepping into the professional side of it if you're going to have a contracted fight and weigh in and be a part of the athletic commission and all that. But right now, that's not what's going on.
Right. Because I remember back in the day, I mean, Isaiah, Chris, you might remember this. I used to love watching MTV's Rock and Jock basketball, that game.
Oh.
But I didn't think of those guys, those celebrities, as basketball players, real basketball players. I still wanted to see the NBA play. You feel me? So
right.
That's kind of how I look at it,
Man, I thought you was gonna talk about celebrity deathmatch.
That's what I thought he was gonna say.
I thought he was gonna talk about. I thought he was gonna talk about celebrity deathmatch.
I think that might be coming back. I heard some rumors about that coming back.
That was my jam right there.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. UFC Fight Night results. Both you, Chris, and Angel have the results. Like I said, I didn't even know it happened until this morning, and I caught the highlights of. It looks like it was nothing but no decisions last night.
No, everybody 9 finishes. It was I didn't get to watch the full card. I watched some stuff. I kind of pick and choose what I wanted to fight, what I thought was gonna be exciting. Sold out crowd. I feel like, honestly, sometimes I'd be feeling like they're just lying, but like everywhere they go, they always sell out.
I don't think they were in a very big venue. They weren't in a. It
It
didn't
is
look like it was.
the Nashville's not huge. You're not selling out 50,000 people in Nashville,
Nah,
man.
It said it
nah,
was.
you know,
It's
It said on
probably
17,000.
10,000, 15,000. Yeah,
17. That's all it was. It said 17 was what they
okay.
put out.
I can see
The
that for the Derek Lewis fight.
Yeah. So for what ended up the fights that I want to talk about was first two was gonna be Derek Lewis. Honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like so he ended up fighting what's his name?
Oh, how you go to the main event first? You can't build up
Right,
the
right,
fight, bro.
right.
Let me tell you
I
Agent,
something.
wasn't gonna say
Edward,
nothing.
Let
I'm
me
a
tell you
Scott man.
something. We need to keep
Agent,
these lights on, right? We need to keep these lights on, right? All right, then. So we start from the top and we work our way down. We need to keep these lights on. But hey, why don't you talk about your dude, Chris? Because actually, I need to get his name. I gotta figure out how to say it. So go ahead. I gotta figure out how to say his name. His name is hard.
Mike, my homeboy from Florida. I've been out to training with him a bunch of times. At one point there was there was a potential fight, but there was no potential fight for that one. Mike Davis, Beast Boy, he was on the prelims. He fought in the second fight, wins by TKO, flying knee, followed by a follow-up with punches. This young man is an absolute incredible fighter. He's a great young man. His wrestling is good. His jiu-jitsu is good. His striking is good. Watching him fight from an amateur all the way up locally in Florida up to the pros, knowing that he's out at an amazing camp over at Fusion XL in Orlando with those guys over Julian and that whole squad. It's great to see him out there getting a win. That's back-to-back wins for that Gym Fusion. In Atlanta, another guy that I know and fought on amateur cards with and watched him all the way up to pro, Phil Rowe. He also got a knockout win there. So that gym is always on point. And so I just wanted to give him a shout out and give that gym a shout out. They're doing big things. So good on them and congratulations, Mike. Yes, and now we're gonna get into who we got. What are you talking about?
Co-main events. Since we want to work our way up, co-main event. We had
we got Gabriel. You got Gabriel Bonfim.
yeah,
How you say both of them? Both of them.
And
Wonder Boy.
I'm gonna be honest.
You already know. Go ahead.
People have been talking about it. They said that Wonder Boy actually won the fight. People have been saying it should have been a split decision Wonder Boy's way. Honestly, the third round definitely is what decided it. It depends on how you look at it from a judge's point of view. You know, if you're gonna look at someone who's stuffing takedowns, someone who can't be held and who can get right back up to their feet and keep striking, that has to be taken into account. The biggest thing was that Wonder Boy, if he would have had, I think, 5 more seconds at the end of that second round, he was gonna win. He dropped him and he hurt him bad. It hurt him right at the belt. So then, we come out. I think he wanted to push the pace. He was kind of a little weary, just trying to set up a good shot. And then, both of them was trying to shoot for the takedown, trying to keep him down. Ended up getting a split decision win. It's funny because I ended up listening to Dana White's. He always does the press conference after, and they were saying, like, do you think that was Wonder Boy's last fight, or he has I think he has a couple more fights on his contract, like 3 or 4 or something like that, or you think that's his last one, or should his next one be his last one? And Dana White, I feel like he's always pretty straightforward when he wants people to retire. He doesn't want them no more. He just wants to cut them. But he was saying, Wonder Boy still draws a crowd. He still looks good. So I think he's entertaining it. I just wanted to see, what do you guys think? You think Wonder Boy should be on his way out? You think he should stay? What do you think?
Well, one, I can see the side where Steven should have got the win. I watched the fight. It was a close fight. I got personal ties with Steven. I've known him a long time. Got to train with him a bunch. I did give him the nod, but that's kind of how what we talk about, our unconscious bias, Steven slightly conscious bias on that one. But watching him fight at that high level, being I guess at this point what we would call a gatekeeper versus a contender. Like if you can get through him, then you might be somebody real. If you can't get through him, then you know what I mean. Maybe you gotta work your way back up, kind of deal. I can see him finishing out another 2 fights, maybe getting a rematch on this, depending on how that goes. And again, at his age, it depends on how long it takes for his shin to heal up. busted his shin bone all the way down to the bone. They said it's actually way worse than what it looked like because it didn't look that bad. It looked like a little gash. Now it looked like it wasn't good, but like when they opened it up and saw how deep it was, like it was even worse than what it looked like. It was long length. So at our age, bodies don't heal up as fast and as quick or as good. That 100% now is not 100% that it used to be 5 years ago. But like I said, I think he's got another 1 or 2 left in him, depending on how this next one goes.
Yeah,
I saw the fight. I can understand the argument either way. And
right.
I thought they were going to give it to Wonder Boy, not because I thought that he deserved to win, but because we get to this culture where we begin to grade on the curve. So there's 2 reasons why: grading on the curve and because of the fans. I always say that the judges are stupid. You know what I mean? And I teach my fighters to play on that. You know what I mean? Like they are very easily influenced because many of them are not former combatants or fighters themselves. So they can be very easily swayed and influenced themselves. But to the point about grading on the curve, to Angel's point, yeah, he stuffed a lot of the takedowns and he got back up. All right, but we would not award individual who blocked a lot of punches in boxing, you know what I mean? Like, and say, oh, and that was people's, gripe with Floyd early on with a lot of the fights that he won. They're like, well, since when is slipping punches and A, B, C, and D amount to offense? Like, if you're in a position where you have to keep on getting up or stuffing takedowns, you're obviously not being offensive, and the other guy is really pushing the pace more because he's the one putting you in the position to have to defend. So when we started saying, well, he got back up or he got off the cage or he couldn't hold him down, it's like, but he got you down for not being able to hold down. But he keeps putting you in this position that you don't want to be in, which means that you really aren't in control of certain points of the fight. You're just fighting somebody off.
Fight control.
Right. You're fighting somebody off. So according to the rules of what's supposed to decide who's going to win a particular round or a fight, if we're talking about, offensive aggression, and then we're turning around in the same breath and saying, well, he fought a lot of those takedowns off, or he stuffed those things, or it's just like in baseball, right? If it's close, you give it to the runner, right? The runner is the guy that got to run around all the bases. He's the ones that got to slide in.
The one who's doing the work, not the one who's trying to stop him. 100%.
Exactly. He's waiting to catch the ball. The other guy's actually running the bases, right? If it's too close, we give it to the runner. If this is a situation where it's a close fight like that, he did do a great job of stopping a lot of those takedowns. He did drop him, which is the reason why it was a close fight to begin with, because without that drop in their finish, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, I don't think. I think that it would have been clear that he would have lost that fight. But because he did such a good job of being able to control that second round and get that near finish, then we start looking at, maybe he did win. It's like it was close, and I could see it going the other way. And just based on how the judges are easily swayed, I thought that they would have given it to him, not because I thought he deserved it, but because of that point. But I think we got to get out of that. I think we can't grade on the curve. We can't reward somebody because of the fact that they stopped a lot of stuff. Well, they stopped this, they stopped that, they stopped this. If you're stopping something, it's because the other guy is implementing his plan, and he's putting you on your heels to be able to try to stop. And a striker like Wonder Boy, a fighter like Wonder Boy, we know he's a striker. So he didn't want to be in those positions. If it was up to him, he'd have been the center of the cage. So he's stopping these takedowns against the cage and getting him off the ground is because he's been pushed to that position and put there. So you got to give the nod to his opponent for sure, to Bonfim. So that's the reason why I feel that way.
That's a good point. I mean, I definitely agree with that. That's actually a good point. Once hearing what you said, that makes a lot of sense.
Keep going, Angel.
Last fight main event was Derek Lewis versus Taliesin Teixeira, the king of the cab drivers, they was calling him. To be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew this fight wasn't gonna last long. Hearing the pre-fight of what Teixeira's game plan was, it was, to me, stupid as hell. And maybe that's just me, but you have someone in Derek Lewis who is known for being a big puncher, a knockout artist, one-hitter quitter. And you're in your pre-fight press conferences and in your lead up to the pre-fight shows and everything, you say, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to outbox him and I'm going to use my head movement and I'm going to fight him toe-to-toe. I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I remember I was eating and I'm looking and I was like, this is stupid. Then the fight goes, and sure enough, he does it. And, Derek Lewis, as crazy as he is, he tried to play possum. Sun got my eye. He tried to play his game, but he really tried to sit there and go toe-to-toe with him. And then I almost think of it as almost kind of like an Ngannou effect of like when people say, I'm going to strike with him. You have like the ego takes over, and I want to show him a better striker than him. But why are we going that route? Like, that's like, and it's okay to say someone, yeah, man, you got, your power is that deadly that I need to implement other parts of my game. But it's MMA. That's the whole point. It's not just a singular base fight. If that's the case, it would be a completely different thing. So I think it was 1 minute and 35 seconds, something like that, or was it 35 seconds?
No, it was like 35.
38 seconds.
38.
Yeah.
So,
but hey, Angel, I'm telling you, I think you forget something when it comes to Derek Lewis.
What?
Jiu-jitsu don't work when you just stand up.
Yeah.
So I think listen, easier said than done with Derek, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I know I seen on a lot of people are not happy with the stoppage. And let me tell y'all, all y'all right now, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. My man went down. He went limp. He got punched in the face. He turned his back. He used the cage to climb up, walk around, and then tried to turn around. Fam, that's over with.
Thank God he stopped it.
People, what do y'all want? Y'all want my man to turn around, square up, and get rocked 2 or 3 more times and end up limp? Get caught like an overreach.
I was going to bring it up.
Come on, man. We're not trying to do that. Let's save this man. We want him to fight again another day. He was done. He was out. He was beat. Let's go ahead and cut that nonsense out, please.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Those people who are saying that have probably never been punched in the face, never stepped in a cage to train. Not even gonna say get into a cage to fight. There's more than plenty of people that have never done that, but never been trained. Not even going to a gym. We're going to the cardio class, punch that bag for half an hour, and was like, "Ooh, I can't do that." We know. So stop commenting. That was a stoppage. My man was done. Sorry,
he was done. He was.
No, you good. I cut you off. No, I was gonna bring that up. And I'm gonna say something. I can understand why they're saying it to some degree, and it'll make more sense in a second. It's because of how amazing the reffing was. So what happened was this: first of all, in the main event, you're supposed to let the people, almost borderline die. Like and we talked about that. I think a few episodes ago about how as it gets deeper in the card, the ref starts to allow the fighters more leeway because of their status and who they are and who people came to see. So under normal circumstances, he would have allowed the fight to go longer. But I was proud because we always criticize the refs, but this reffing was amazing. The reason why they're saying that is
good.
The fight could have kept going, but the reason the ref stopped it was because of the foul that he did. What he did was illegal in using the cage. He would have had to stop in that moment and take a point away take a point away from the fighter, which would then in turn took away the finish from Derek. So he's like, I got to stop this fight because I can't stop this onslaught. But this dude is literally grabbing for his life and climbing up the cage, which is illegal. It's a violation. It's a foul. So he might have been able to take 3 or 4 more punches, if he would have let it go on. But he couldn't let it go on because of the fact that to stay in the fight, he used an illegal type of motion to get back into the fight. And the ref, like, if I stop it now to warn him or take a point, I could take away Derek's, finish. So if I'm going to stop it because he's doing this, I have to stop the fight as a whole. This violation, this foul, has resulted in the end of the fight. Now, Derek would have finished him anyway, like 1 more punch or 2 more punches, and nobody has said nothing. But it was so blatant what he did that he's like, I got to stop this thing. On top of you getting your behind kick, you climbing up the cage too. So that's why I think that people are saying that because they knew he might have been able to take another thump or 2. But the ref did a great job because if he would have stopped that
100%.
and said, hey, hold on, time out. You can't grab the cage. 1 point this way. Derek's like, I don't care about that. I'm killing this man. Did you take my knockout away? And then, God forbid, dude came back and hit Derek with something slick, like a head kick, and knocked him out or something. And then Derek had lost the fight. You know what I mean? So he did an amazing job reffing. And even though I don't agree with people saying what they're saying, I think that's the reason why they're saying, because they don't understand.
No. I know. I understand that, but listen, that because again, they've never been put in those kinds of situations. I 100% understand with you. And we are we gonna get to the Derek Lewis being the greatest post fight interviewer of all time?
Absolutely.
Of all time.
That dude.
First off, he got the most knockout wins in UFC history now.
Wow, really?
He's no longer tied. Number one, put it done, lay it down, and he still got more to go. Honestly, I know people ain't gonna like me, but I want to see him fight for the title.
You know, man, they talked about that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Who else? You talk about like Curtis? Nah, Curtis. Sorry, Curtis. No. I want to see Derek before it's too late.
They talked about them in the press conference, and even Dana White said he's always one fight away from a title fight. Like there's just you can't.
So why just give him the title fight?
It's
who else gonna give it to Cyril again?
Because a couple of years ago,
I want him to give it to Cyril. Who?
He said he didn't want it. Derek got on a mic. That's what makes him so great, man.
That was a long time ago. Got on a mic. Toe us up. I gotta get back and do some.
But they was gonna give him the title shot, and he said, man, he's like, I don't want no title shot, man. He's like, I gotta fight 5 rounds. He's like, just keep me with these 3 rounds, man. I want no title fight, man. That's what he said. I died laughing. It was hilarious.
No, I remember. No, because Derek
his next fight, they were gonna give him a title fight, I think, and he said he didn't want it. That made me like him even more.
He did. Like, I gotta do some cardio. I gotta go back. Yeah, I remember that.
That was the fact that was before he slimmed down.
Then he asked Joe if he could go on his podcast with him.
That was the fat Derek.
All right, we're about to move on.
Well, what we got? We got the professor's perspective.
There we go. All right, take it away, Zeke.
All right, this is building up on what we worked last week. Chris was excited. He's like, you're gonna stand this position, right? So this is building up on what we worked last week, where we worked from the arm triangle position, and I worked on a back take where you get on your side in case you can't get that choke, which the percentage of these choke nowadays is a lot lower than it used to be back in the day because people understand how to defend against it. And I believe that when you get in these positions, you should have multiple things that you can do from these positions where you don't have to abandon it. So what we're working now is we're just working on the sweeps. Now, I probably need to be on my side a little bit more, all right? But I was trying to explain it at the same time because I need to be on that right hip more than I am right now. But if that arm triangle fails and you can't get that arm triangle, you now should be in a position, if you're on your hip enough, to where you can reach. That's my son. His arms are super long, so I'm able to reach his by not being on my side, but you probably need to be on your side a little bit more. And you should be in a position that arm is still across the body, so you should be able to grab that wrist. And once you grab that wrist, all you do is you just switch your hips around and pull the wrist while using the momentum of that hip switch that you're doing from the bottom to roll the person and get on top. So I'm on my side, I reach and I grab his arm. He can't use that for anything now. He's trying to defend the choke, by the way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep to the left side while pulling the wrist, open the legs up, and the big sweep while pulling the wrist, and turn over and get on top. And once you advance that top position, it's important that you don't let that wrist go because you still have a top side arm triangle that you can finish from there, or you can slide up, you can advance to the 4 mount, or what I like, we call it the small package. Some people call it the technical mount. I believe that is a better position than the 4 mount because on the mount, when you sit on top of the mount, you're sitting on top of somebody's hips. It's like the equivalent of sitting on an active volcano that keeps getting ready to explode. So you find yourself a lot of people trying to defend and hold the position more. You're in the offensive position, but you're trying to keep and maintain your balance by grabbing the back of the person's head, posting your hand, and it's disruptive of your attacks. But when you're actually in that small package or that technical mount position, then it's a better position for me and a worse position for him because even in the mount, the guy can try to bridge, he can get his back up, and then I have to transition, but he's on his side. So I'm still on top of him. My knee is behind his head, and then my foot is right there in the hip. So he can't turn on his belly, nor can he turn on his back. And as long as I still have that wrist, I still have a lot of attacking opportunities. And if this is MMA, it's night-night. It's lights up. Because if I got that gift wrap, I call it the gift wrap. If I got that gift wrap, I'm coming on top with elbows. I'm coming on top with hammer fists, and he cannot defend no matter what. But you still have your chokes there. You still have your arm bars there. You still have a lot of things. And I don't have to worry about his hips bumping and being involved. Wrist lock, yes, sir. I don't have to worry about those hips bumping and disrupting my attack at all, whether it's MMA or whether it's jiu-jitsu.
All right. You got a question?
I believe that. So my perspective is, on top of that sweep, I believe that I like the small package or technical mount better, and it's a much more effective and dangerous position than the full mount. That's my perspective when we come to that move in that position.
So
I'm co-signing a small package on that one over the mount. Mount is not my favorite position. Or top guard, if you want to call it top guard.
Yeah. What's that, Adrian?
Go ahead.
You go when you're in that gift wrap position, would you screw him onto your left thigh and then go for the arm bar too, or would you from there just work and would you try to get your hooks in? Would you try to just what would you want to do in that position right off that?
When I got to the top after I completed the sweep?
Yeah, after you did the pendulum sweep and you come over, would you want to attack right away, or are you gonna try and
it depends on if we're talking jiu-jitsu or MMA. And here's something that's really important. And I talk to my fighters about all the time. Time determines situations. How much time's on the clock and where am I at? Where am I at? If this is an MMA fight and I'm losing and it's 30 seconds left or something like that, I'm going for submission for sure. Because at this point, I can punch, I can do a lot. But if this is the final round, the refs seen us fight for 2 rounds and 2.5 minutes or 3 or 4.5 minutes in this fight. He's probably not going to step in and stop it. He's going to give this person the benefit of the doubt to be able to try to, see if they can get outside that round. But a submission is a lot more instant. You know what I mean? Like if I got the guy's arm extended, if I'm choking the guy, that's an 8 to 10 second situation where this guy's going to have to tap. A lot of coaches tell people, hurry up and lay some damage down. But look, that's a risk that I'm not willing to take if I'm behind in the fight. So if it's a time situation, now if it's 2.5 minutes left for me to be able to work, I'm pounding the crap out of this guy if it's an MMA fight, or I'm setting something else up different in a jiu-jitsu scenario. So it depends on if we're talking jiu-jitsu or MMA, and it depends on where I am and how much time is left, in that particular fight. There's some great chokes that I have there that you can do with the gi, but also without the gi, it still works as well. From that position, why don't you have to abandon that position? I got a nice choke right there that I can go across the carotid artery. I got an arm bar there. There's a top side triangle I can set up from there. So there's a lot. But that position, I will make sure I maintained it until I knew what I wanted to do, because it's a very strong position and it's not as risky, and you don't have to feel that you on top are fighting to hold the position as much as you do on the full mount. So I would keep that position until I determined what it was that I was going to do next. But there's a lot of attack from there for sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's it for our show for this week. You guys got anything else?
That was solid. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm gonna use that move this week. That was solid. I'm using that move this week.
Chris?
I'm with it. I you know me. I like setting up stuff from there. I was wondering when we were gonna go scoot by through and take on us on a journey, and 100%. And again, like I said, when you talked about being in a little small package, we would always call it in my first school we called it the surface ride, because as they would shrimp out and you would just ride the wave and you would just flow with it and you would go always towards the head. You always got to ride the head of the wave. You gotta kind of peek into that, and then there's like you were talking about the now the steps and the processes I'm going through where I can go from arm to leg to hand back down to toes, and because my first love is I started as a catch wrestler first. The first guy that I worked with, the first guy that I ever worked with, like truly worked with in my grappling, was a local guy from worked out at the MMA gym. He was an old catch wrestler, and so catch what you can. And so yeah. So from that position, I love being in there and working, because us as in our gyms being little guys, I'm not sitting on mount. My knees don't touch the ground.
Exactly.
My knees. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not mount. Gene. We'll grapple one day. Gene, I'm not trying to get to mount position. I'm gonna ride side control, knee on belly. I'm gonna hang out. I'm not trying that. No, I'm not trying.
I enjoy learning from you guys. Definitely. I really
appreciate it.
All right. Any closing remarks?
Fast and take chances.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's Winner Circle. We'll catch you next week. Stay safe, stay strong, and I will end this stream.